how to be attractive with her, how to have a positive vacuum, as I say, a healthy, attractive vacuum in the space between the two of you, and what to do if the shit is hitting the fan.
I'm gonna tell you about a woman whose heart is sunshine, whose body burned hot. I'm gonna tell you about a woman who's cold as tundra with some frozen eyes. I can tell by the way she moves that she can't.
Welcome to the C-Note Show, everybody, brought to you by Great Men Move Mountains. It is Friday, July 17th, 2020, 11:01 here, AM Mountain Time. And we already have gentlemen from around the world. Of course, Patrick's here from New Zealand. We've got gentlemen where it's the afternoon. They're in Middle America or the Eastern Coast. We always have men from Spain and Europe jump on, but it's an amazing, beautiful Friday. My name is Jeff Allen. I'm a professional coach. This is Miss Cynthia Cruz, professional coach as well. The only woman allowed on the show. Welcome, Cynthia. Thanks for being here.
Thank you so much, and happy Friday to you, or if it happens to be Saturday for you,
Right.
Happy sending you wonderful weekend thoughts, and thank you as always for inviting me into this space with you.
Yeah, fantastic. And gentlemen, you are here because you're either experiencing death by female right now, you've heard divorce, or I want space, or I'm not in love with you, or maybe that's happened in the recent past or in the past, and you want to know how to be that spiritually confident man, that emotionally confident, and that skillful man of how to be attractive with her, how to have a positive vacuum, as I say, a healthy, attractive vacuum in the space between the two of you, and what to do if the shit is hitting the fan. That's why you're here. Like me in 2015, I found a men's group that was only every 2 weeks. And this show we do every single day, Monday through Friday at 11 a.m. Mountain, of course, over Zoom, or you're watching this on YouTube so that we can reach men all around the world. So we start with some comedy. We start with some posts from the forum. We have another post we want to get into today that's really painful for this man. And he's trying to, what looks like, follow maybe some therapist's advice. That's what Cynthia and I were talking about. It sounds like this idea that he had maybe came from his therapist. We're not sure. But that's what we see when the man wants to structure things like the way that he's wanting within the question. We may be wrong. However, regardless, the point is he's facing a lot of pain, and there's some things shooting out from his situation that we want to bring up today to just shine a light on, right? This work, Cynthia, is about facing the dragon as a man, about achieving in the world, about doing something in a positive way about where we are now, and not just being at effect to the world, right? We want to spearhead the world. We want to take action in the world as a man and not just be passive about that. So what happens when a man that you're, either around, let's say a colleague or a ex-partner of yours, when they're more a victim in the world, or the world is affecting them instead of them spearing into the world? What does that feel like as a woman when that's the case with a man?
I feel myself want to withdraw from that energy, and it's almost like that, that little boy energy that comes out of needing or wanting someone to give him, fill him up, change him, shift him. And, I think about an experience I had in a relationship where very well-intentioned gentleman, and yet, I remember he even joined a men's group, but he didn't keep doing the work and couldn't sustain that daily practice. I felt myself I just felt myself lose a little bit of respect for him, because he was, I think, expecting things to be easy. And as soon as they weren't, he would give up. And that it was really hard to trust him in his path in life.
Yeah. Because when things get hard, like they always will, how's he going to show up then in the relationship or in the future?
Yeah, that is not a very safe place to be in a relationship where, because you're always kind of thinking as a woman, if I get to be too much, too hard, too much water flowing out of the container here, will this person think it's not worth their time? Or I have been in relationships before where someone has said to me, like, this is too hard, and that has its place, that I definitely honor and value that sometimes it is too hard. And I don't want to feel like just who I am as a feminine woman trying and growing, that is too hard. That femininity is too hard. So.
Yeah, absolutely. I hear you. I mean, every man that's on here every single day on our show, every week on our show, wants to know how to dance with that energy. And even if sometimes we feel like it's hard, we're never here to give up, right? We may not handle it well. We may get angry. We may shut down. We may run away at times. We all have those triggers that we are learning through and feeling through. I had a man last night I just started speaking with about anger. And I can relate a lot to that, of how to understand what your body feels like when the anger is coming on, what to do in that moment, and how to be attractive, even if you're feeling upset in the moment. Those are things I'm so happy that we show and teach and talk about on the show, Cynthia. So thank you. Appreciate that. All right, let's jump over to the forum, and then I've got some comedy today. Troopers. This is it's a spinoff of course, some Star Wars. I thought this one was really funny. There's a whole series of these, so I grabbed a few to save for the future. We've got some comedy here coming up. We've got another clip about how to stop feeling needy with your woman, and it's an example from our gentleman we've been highlighting this week from his channel Fearless. I have that today. Let's jump over to the question from the forum. So yeah, we do our daily work here. We are lions in face of this work, and this week our theme is how and when to ask more affection in your life. Love that you guys are here. Here's a post I wanted to jump into where the man is in quite a bit of pain here. I always love to dip into the pain, dip into the pool, and then jump over to some comedy and come back. So he starts with the week I was having, it would have been nice to get a step forward in the marriage restoration. My wife and I have been getting along for over 2 months, but as buddies with no indication of progressing from there. So they're just roommates at this point, he says. Right? Take exhaustion, stress, and pain, and the urge to get something moving in the relationship ramped up. I made up a written promise that I would not expect anything further or get my expectations high if she were willing to show a base level of affection. So I want to stop right there. This man. So we talked about this on the forum. There was a bunch of back and forth there. And this is another post. And I'm not sure if this man, sometimes he's on our show. He may not be able to be on here today. I wanted to ask him about this when he comes on the next time. But he wrote up that he would promise to not expect anything further or get his expectations high if she were to show a base level of affection. So he's trying to contractually ask his wife. I can already see your face. He's trying to contractually ask for a base level of affection, and then therefore he won't get his expectations too high. I'm a bit confused by many aspects of that whole scenario there. What does that feel like to you emotionally? As soon as I even bring that up, without trying to figure out what he means by base expectations or his expectations or a base level of affection, just even discussing the scenario of where this is headed here. How does that feel for you as a woman?
I fully believe that we all deserve affection and connection and touch in our life. And so a man asking for that, envisioning kind of a base level of affection, I feel he's wanting and envisioning and wanting to keep the relationship space healthy and moving forward and celebration of each other and connected. So the core need of that is powerful and in that leadership mode. I think when there's an idea that affection is more of a logical thing, like there's a base level, like you should, if you can achieve one level and if you jump in that box with me of that, this logical experience, I think for a woman that can actually feel like a box. It can feel, because in my body I felt kind of trapped and like I couldn't breathe well, and there was this expectation that didn't have room and breadth for emotion in the moment.
So first of all, you started off so kind, assuming this man, of course, wants love and affection and camaraderie and honor within his relationship, and he wants to help her feel safe. And then it's, well, now let's have this sort of contractual almost obligation, and he felt close down. What if he just said to her, I would love for us to have an honorable space between us and a vision in our relationship and for us to feel safe with one another?
That Yeah.
So if he just said the opening part and didn't go for this contract, that is, in a way, leading and modeling and fostering a base level of affection.
Yeah.
Yeah. And sure, of course, and we know a little bit about this man's situation. Those of you that on the show know a bit about this man's situation. It's difficult, it's complicated. There's small kids involved. There's most likely trauma in the past. And it's never as simple as, we just talking about it for 30 seconds. We understand that. However, a big piece of our work here is to help you not make giant mistakes or not box yourself in, or we don't want her to feel boxed in and just be shoving you back or putting the shields up and protecting herself. Right? So the tenet of what we're discussing right now is to lead with compassion and not have expectations of her doing anything. And it's to have a vision and to be able to speak within 2 or 3 sentences, the vision of what you want in this chapter of life. And in this chapter of life, you may not have a lot of physicality and you want physicality, and that's cool and acceptable and honorable and expected. We believe in that. But however, in this chapter of life, if we try to box her in or use shame or use these what kind of feels like passive aggressive logical agreements, that's not going to get us toward where we want to be. That's going to close her down even more. That's what you're saying. Is that fair to say?
Yeah. It's almost just the absence of what we talked about this week and yesterday of what is affection, sex, connection, what does it really provide for me? And that's what the energy we're bringing to the table, because I think no one is in a place of selfishness when they really, it's not a selfish energy. It's not a boxing in energy when it's from truly a guttural, this is how this brings my soul to the table.
Nice.
With you. Yeah.
I love that. So gentlemen, today on this Friday after comedy, I'd love for you to share, if you're willing and wanting to share, what have some of your wins been this week? What have some of the wins in your life or in your energy or in your movement in this chapter of life, or even just today, even just this morning? Did you do your kingly plan? Did you get up and exercise? Did you journal for 2 sentences? What is a win this week? If you're wanting and able to do that after we show some comedy, I'd love for you to jump in. So right now we've got from this little series called Troopers, we've got Secret Message. This is a secret message. Here we go.
Leaders of the insurgency, I have been captured, but remain in good spirits. Also, I have obtained some crucial information. It turns out the Dread Cruiser's weakness...
Yeah, I'm totally gonna slam my pecs to the... Whoa, this isn't the gym. Oh, hey, princess. Long time no see.
Who were you just talking to?
I guess I better just do my workout here. Workout anywhere, really. He's about to get a little muscly and stuff. Oh, okay. Count for me.
1. Girl push-up.
Still counts. Oh, I'm cramping.
Okay, he's finally gone. The Dread Cruiser's weakness.
Cell Inspector. That's, wow, what is that? Yeah, look at that. That's good. That's looking good, too. That feels pretty good to me. And, that feels pretty good to me.
Get the fuck. Now I'm in okay spirits. The Dread Cruiser's weakness.
Hey, want me to make you an omelet?
No! The Dread Cruiser's weakness.
Are you sure?
Yes! The Dread Cruiser's weakness.
Omelet time! Did you ring that bell you ring when you want me to come talk to you?
That's not... No, I don't have that.
You do now. That was Soul Eclipse. Soul, spelled like your shoe. This next one's spelled the other way. Hey, is your bell working?
I wouldn't know.
Can I have a bell?
No, Mr. Kankerschmidt. So, have you ever had the urge to date one of your guards?
Yeah, I really want to date that cute one. You know, rich.
My shift starts soon. Bell ring. Anyway, I'll see you in 7 hours, so...
Okay, new plan. Get me out of here, now!
Hey, did I leave my helmet in here?
What? No, you're wearing it. You're always wearing it.
Hey, what? Is that a camera?
What? No.
It's okay. I I won't take this to Dreadlord. For you.
Actually, you probably should show this to your boss, because he'd be so proud of you.
You think?
Yeah.
Sir, I can explain.
What happened? I always fall asleep during movies. Can you rewind this thing?
Yeah. No.
Oh man. Yeah, sometimes we'll do anything to try to get the attention of a woman. Cynthia. My favorite was the cell inspector. That was my favorite one. I think you liked it when he was playing, what was it? He's not the recorder. Was it the recorder? It was clarinet, I think. It was clarinet. Yeah, there are a bunch more. There are a bunch more like that. I picked the top 3 or 4 I'll save for the future.
I personally like when men whip out the flute.
Yeah, that's hot, right?
It is.
Yeah. Oh wait, actual flute, not their flute. Oh, my mistake. You whip out the actual flute. So yeah, I'd love for you gentlemen to share a win this week, guys, and I'll get back to our poster. I've got that clip from today, but it's Friday. I'd love to give you guys an opportunity to open up and share, and we're here to fucking connect with each other as well, to like bring our reality into the world on this Friday. It feels like, it's warm. It's warm here. It's not warm in New Zealand. Patrick's like, no, I'm cuddled up in bed. It's cold outside. But otherwise, yeah, bring some Friday energy to us. So Reuben, yeah, go for it. You raise your hand. Go for it, please.
Hello, everyone. My wins this week are the embracing of gratitude and empathy. I've been doing this. I've been using the Calm app and using their meditation. And from just doing the meditation and staying and trying to build my gratitude and my empathy, I've uncovered a lot of personal fears that I have that I've masqueraded them around as maybe my neighbors or anybody else. And I was able to get underneath it and figure out that this is just me projecting out onto others. So what I did last night was actually do a meditation of forgiving myself, because I think that was the biggest thing, is that I blame myself for a lot of things, and I'm hard on myself because I felt some embarrassment and shame. So I just sat in meditation and just thought about, just having compassion and empathy for myself. And if I start there and continue that, it'll grow into others. So that was my win for the week.
So cool, Reuben. Love that absolutely so much. So the Calm app, you said?
Yeah, I as I said, I wasn't going to do it. Then all of a sudden they sent me like a 50% off, and I was just like, sure, why not? And it's been pretty amazing. I actually have I do it with my son, and it's so funny. Nice. I was watching him do it and him breathe, and it's pretty darn cool.
Wow.
Man, that is so awesome. You're such a great model for your kiddos. What a great dad. You're so cool, man. Fantastic.
Thank you.
Yeah.
So I just want to share with everyone. It's so cool that I'm not focusing on the majority of my stuff. It used to be focused outside of me onto others, and I'm just being able to focus on myself and take a look at my issues and just forgive myself for a lot of them. And there's a ton of stuff that I can forgive. It's just not enough time in the day.
Sure. No, I love what you said about forgiving yourself. Yeah, the energy this morning when we were prepping for the show, Cynthia, and I talked about today feels like a momentum kind of day. Like, let's give ourselves credit and let's honor that we can take the next step in whatever our routine is today. It doesn't need to be fireballs from the sky every single day. Sometimes a huge movement in our life is just showing up every single day, doing our routine, being proud of ourselves, and forgiving ourselves for some things, like you said, Reuben.
Awesome, man. I thank you guys. This has just been awesome. This is an awesome life right now. This is great.
Very cool. I love it, dude. I love it. Thanks for sharing, bud. Thanks for coming in.
Thank you.
Yeah. So Tim in the chat said, Ron Burgundy with the jazz flute. Absolutely an Anchorman from Anchorman.
Totally does it. Yeah.
That's she's hot for Ron Burgundy and the jazz flute, definitely. So who else would like to come in? Would anyone like to come in and share a win this week? No, that's cool. All right, guys. Well, if you want to share throughout the show, as always, post in chat, raise your hand. We're happy if you want to, watch. I go back and watch some segments from our show to see what's connecting with guys, right? And sometimes it seems like the energy of, hey, show us what was posted on the forum, right? Show us what you want to bring forward in the world today. Is that what you feel from the energy from the guys? Let me ask you, what do you feel on this Friday today with the energy from the forum and from what we've been talking about this week of how to get more sex and affection, how to ask for those things?
Yeah, there feels like this incredible groundedness. Looking at the forum or just sitting here, it's like the knowledge that not everything is like perfect, but that there's a stillness and a peace with it's going to be okay, and kind of like roots are being planted and are starting to go deep. And that's what it feels like to me this morning. And it's this very, feels like summer energy too, of like, okay. And then, but yet there's this vision of like, okay. And then fall is coming and momentum and forward and goals. And that's just what's hitting me today.
Yeah,
so.
I love it. So let's jump back to our poster and feel into that momentum and see where this is going to go here, right? So he wrote up a promise that he would not expect anything further or get my expectations high. What I needed from her was an act of good faith, or at least some hints as to what her plan is. I wanted to put a little pressure on her to show her cards. I wasn't demanding anything physically, but wanted to get needed information out in the open. So let's talk about this for a moment, Cynthia. He's saying he wants an act of good faith or some hints as what her plan is or her plans are. There's at least 3 or 4 men that I'm coaching right now that are in this exact spot that want to know more about her plans. And what I've discovered is I don't know that she really has a plan. And her plan right now may be to work through this phase of life with the children. Her plan may be just to get through the day, right? So without knowing much more, when he's asking for, first of all, an act of good faith, he's wanting something from her. Okay, that can very quickly move into needy energy. And then hints as to what her plans are. So if I want to know what are your plans, and it seems like I'm needing validation from you to tell me that I'm okay. I'm putting pressure on you, he literally says, to show your cards, right? And I'm not demanding anything physically, but I am demanding something emotionally. I'm wanting to get needed, which I'm assuming is needed information. Okay, that's my story, that this is needed information. So there's a lot of this gentleman's, what I'm reading here and feeling is needing something from her, putting pressure on her, trying to find out what her plan is. Talk to me about what that's going to do for a woman, or if she's not ready, or if she doesn't know what her plans are, what is this kind of energy from him going to do in the relationship space?
Sure. Well, we're in an interesting time anyways with the idea of like, what's your plan? And I just want to say, Randy posted in the chat, just kind of saying, hey, you know what? Doesn't feel like tons of wins this week. Wife is dealing with the COVID stress, and that is frustrating. And I felt that this morning, just going on Facebook, of all of a sudden the like new intensity in Colorado. So I think all of us are like, okay, what's the plan? Tell me this is going to be okay. And there is a need for certainty and reassurance when something is so uncertain. And as a woman, when I've experienced people asking me for a plan, a certainty, an end result, and it feels like they're needing to kind of calm their own anxiety and uncertainty in that. And it feels like if there's already these layers of things I'm trying to manage or hold on to, or emotional relationship, it just feels like one more, and it gets really overwhelming, this like request for a plan. And I'll often say, I haven't even thought of that yet. I haven't thought that far in advance yet, or I completely don't know, versus when a man, you know, makes an ask of me, but it's a place where he's coming from his own certainty and vision. All of a sudden, the layers I've been trying to manage are like, oh, these are not that important, and I can put them aside and then answer the question.
Yeah. So it's so important for us to have our own plan and to ask her to come along, is what I'm hearing, right? But to sort of put all of our expectations on her to inform us without leading with our own vision first feels like a lot of pressure.
Oh, it is so overwhelming. And it just absolutely feels like one more thing to try to manage in my mind.
Yeah. Well, let's keep going with the rest of this paragraph from this gentleman. He says, otherwise I would have to wonder where this is going. This one sentence really hit me. Otherwise, I would have to wonder where this is going. There is not certainty in life. There's not certainty in really anything within relationship or within, let me jump back here. For us to want our own certainty in life through the relationship is not sourcing ourselves as a man. It's not tethered to masculinity, as we talk about, as John Wineland has talked about with clips on our show that we've shown. Last week was a lot of John Wineland of how to have that masculine presence, what she's looking for as far as masculinity in relationship. And so, yeah, you may have to wonder where this is going, and that's a natural thing. And if you want to sort of dump your anxiety or hope that she, like mommy, is going to fix your anxiety, that's the wrong way to go about it, right? And then he says, I'll just go ahead and read because I want to bounce back and forth. I'm getting strung along. Oh, am I getting strung along when I could be finding happiness? So, wow, asking ourselves this question, that's not holding her in high regard, right? It's a question we ask ourselves, am I getting strung along? Well, this gentleman has children we are aware of, and he doesn't have a plan in his own life. We're not reading that he's bringing a plan to her, that he has this journey that he wants to go on and is inviting her on. So if he's waiting for her, and if he's giving her the power, let's say, to string him along because he's not making his own plan, he's really giving away his power in the world, right? So I'm sharing this and I'm talking about this way because I'm concerned for this man. I'm concerned of how much apparent neediness is coming across, how much lack of vision he has in his own self. And the whole, I wrote this up and I'm doing this kind of contract is something that we've seen therapists have guys do, and I've never seen it go well. Have you ever seen a contract like this go well with a woman where they're contractually obligating affection?
Well, what it feels like is a very neutral energy. It takes polarity out of the situation. It takes energy out of the situation. It takes attraction and passion. And so that's where I kind of get stuck, because if you're trying to have men and women think the same, act the same, we value exactly the same things and doing it in the same way, through a contract, it just, I feel like that ends up breeding, maybe as roommates you get along better, but it's that's still that same roommate situation, because everything that's been wildly feminine and wildly masculine about that gets put into a box, and that's just what it feels like. So
thank you. Yeah, that makes a lot of sense. Absolutely. Am I getting strung along? I previously had no timeline. I'm not considering leaving anytime soon, just a plan for what I'm looking for and by when. So again, he needs to have his own plan and invite her to come along with him. Can I hold out without affection till the end of the year? Longer? I didn't articulate any of that well with a fried brain on top of being in a rush to read and respond while teaching. So yeah, and so what he's admitting to there, which we're all in this spot at times, is having stress, not knowing what his plan is, how long he can sort of last within that plan. I love that he's bringing this to the men. He's posing this on our forum, which is phenomenal. And he's gotten an amazing response from one of the elders in our community who's been through this work. He's been through this work for a couple of years, so I'll share that here in a moment. Yeah, Dave, I see you raise your hand. Please, come on in.
Kind of thinking about a win this week.
Yeah, please.
This past week, I've been in contact with an old friend. And she has actually said that she can feel my energy just over the phone on how I've changed since, we have, spoken last, which has been a couple of years. But she acknowledged, and I didn't even ask, she's like, I can just feel a different energy with you. Wow. And, you sound great. So I just wanted to share that.
That's so awesome. Oh,
yeah, it does make me feel good that I'm not coming across as a low self-esteem guy anymore, which I did. I had very low self-esteem. And she said, I can hear it in your voice that you have more energy, you're more confident. And made me feel good.
That's
so awesome, Dave. I love it. Yeah, and I saw in the chat you stunk up the house with liver and onions too, right?
Oh yeah,
and that's a win.
It was awesome. I was never able to do that before when I had other people in the house. So yeah, I went for it and stunk it up real good.
Nice, bud. Nice. Yeah, I feel like Dave feels like he's loving himself and looking for positive in the world. So cool. Yeah. What do you feel from his energy?
Oh, that was delightful to hear you say. She said your energy feels different. I mean, I have felt that with you ever since you first started on the show. I feel the groundedness in you, but that is just huge. And to be able to feel a man who has done his work, it's like it makes your whole body as a woman just kind of relax and take notice. So I'm so glad that she said that.
No, I still have more work to do, but I'm coming along pretty good, I think.
Nice. Love it, Dave. So cool. Thanks for coming on, man. Good to see you. So I want to share this response to our poster here from a gentleman who's been doing his work for over 2 years. He was facing divorce with his wife. They have, I think, 4. She just had either is pregnant with or just had their 4th child. They're back together. They were on the brink of divorce. They're back together. They're stronger than ever. This man's been in the forum. It's John. As you guys know, this is his response to this poster. And so I want to share this with you guys on the show. Yeah, so John says, man, I've heard those words before. If I didn't have sex again, I would be okay. What I found my wife saying was, I don't want to leave you, but I don't want to fuck you either. Man, that's a rough spot, yeah. I found in my work on myself, regardless if my wife came along or not, I needed to do it or face the fact this expansive hole in my chest would swallow me whole at some point. I had no guidance or plan on where I was going in life, just letting life bump me around. Somewhere I lost my masculine, or maybe I was never really shown it. This caused a lot of polarity issues in my relationship where even my wife was confused, and I put her validating me on a pedestal, and I needed it. I craved it, and she resented it. I was a little boy, and no woman wants to have sex with a child. I was always against divorce too, and so was my wife, until neither one of us were happy and didn't know how to fix it. I can definitely say my work has turned my marriage around. She had to do her own too, but I had to start and let her just be on her own. After all, she owes me nothing, but I know I needed to change. Today, life is much easier. That huge hole in my chest doesn't exist, and I get plenty of sex, and I love my wife more than I ever have. She's an amazing woman, and I'm glad she unlocks herself and lets me see the true her now. So if I had to give you advice, let go of the fear. It's not a lion. You won't die. Calm down and breathe. You don't need answers today, and do your work for you. So I love this, John, and what I had said about, wow, where's this post going? I felt immediately when I read the opening post for the first time that he's really validating himself from her. He's like needing in so many different ways. He's not driving his own life from his own self, from internally. And that's what John was nailing right there is, I've been in that place where it doesn't seem like I can do anything right. So let me try this logical way. Let me try this logical way to get her to agree to things and come to the table as if it were another guy in a business situation, right? So in a business situation, that would work. That probably would work well. Hey, let's come to the table. Let's lay some groundwork. Let's agree on things. But as John's pointing out, we need to source our own self. And even if we have that pain, we need to let her have her own space and let her have her experience. Okay? So if we move forward from that, Cynthia, I'd love for you to jump in. Why would you guess that him letting her, what would you say of John letting his wife have that space, of John creating a healthy vacuum of space between the two of them, doing his own work, being on his own path? What is it about that's attractive to a woman? What is it that allows her to breathe and grow and blossom in her passion for him when he allows her to have her own agency and he's on his own path in life?
Well, it kind of hits a couple places because when a man does that and he kind of drops the rope of the push pull between you two, it's just human nature that we get a little energy in that, whether we're the pusher or the puller. When he drops the rope, there's a stunning realization in a woman that he is not playing this energetic game anymore. And so that can inspire her to be a little like, oh, like he could take his presence, his masculinity, and he could move elsewhere and in a different kind of life that doesn't include me on the adventure and journey with him. And so it's really important for a woman to feel included, but not like pressured. So it's almost the difference between, all I can see is that like the knight, and he's, with his horse, he's moving toward his vision, his purpose. And the woman can be like, hey, I want to jump on the horse next to you, versus him like being like, all right, you're going to sit behind me and you're going to, we're going to do this. And then she's like uncomfortable and pressured and not making her own choice to move and step forward, because that's what you deserve, is you deserve someone to step towards you in the space.
Yeah. And she wants to be, as you say, in an experience. And the experience isn't to feel pressured. That's not what she wants. The experience she wants is to be drawn toward him, to be pulled and to want. And that's what we want too as men.
Yeah.
Fantastic. So yeah, we'll honor our forum or our chat here in a moment. And if you'd like to raise your hand, if you have questions today, definitely do that. So Cynthia found and I curated a particular spot in this video I'm going to show you right now. The video is about 10 minutes long total. I'll give you the link here for those of you that are on the show live. That's a benefit of being on the show here live. And I'm going to show about a 2.5 minute section of this clip when he is showing how to basically not be needy with your energy. He talks about how to be grounded in your energy, come from your heart and your guts and your legs and be grounded into the earth, and to be appreciating her femininity and her beauty, observing her beauty without needing something from her, okay? And then he gives an example of being a little more nervous, and watch the woman. So at first he's more calm, let's say, and then the second he's more nervous when he's talking with her, and watch how she responds. Watch how endearing that she feels this is. So I'll give you the link. Watch the rest of this video. He gives examples of being needy and needy energy, which is basically really wanting her to respond, wanting her to tell him that he's okay. A lot of what we read in the opening post. But what I wanted to show you was the positive examples here on the show so that we can see that right now. And I'd love for you guys to comment on it. How does he come across? What is her energy like? How does she respond when, even if he's nervous, but he stays standing in there and he appreciates her beauty without trying to get something from her in that moment? So here we go. 2 minutes from this clip from Fearless right now.
Hey, how you doing? My name's Brian.
My name's Aria.
Yeah. What do you think of the painting?
Oh, they're pretty cool.
Nice.
They're decent, yeah.
And this is it right here, where I'm actually just enjoying the eye contact. And this is the key part, is I'm enjoying her through my body. I'm witnessing her and I'm relaxing. Did that feel different to you?
Definitely. I felt safe. I felt like you were kind of curious about me. So, yeah, it was enjoyable.
And you'll still get sometimes pauses and reactions because they're reading you a little bit. They're taking you in. Is this guy? Who's this guy? What is it? But that's not necessarily a rejection.
No.
And you also don't have to be perfect. A lot of you guys think you have to be perfect. So if I walk up and I'm on, it's like, hey, how you doing? And then I kind of get nervous for a sec, but then I relax again. Like I got nervous for a sec. And I'm like, I just wanted to meet you. Yeah.
Nice to meet you.
So what do you think of the painting?
It's cool.
Cool. So do you see how I'm playing nervous now? And it actually almost works better, doesn't it?
Yeah, it was so sweet. I loved it.
And so I was allowing myself to be affected by her without wanting anything in return. And that's the difference. But what do you think makes men needy, and why do you think it's so hard for them to just let it go?
It's the need for validation, is the anxiety, fear, the fear of rejection, because kind of everyone has that.
Yeah.
So many, a lot of things may go through the mind or the soul of a person when they approach another girl, a girl.
And a lot of it has to do, in my opinion, it's just self-worth, self-esteem. A lot of it has to do with how you feel about yourself. And as you resolve that, what you guys are going to realize is the neediness is going to go away. And you're going to realize when you don't need her to like you, she's going to be chasing you. And that's really what it comes down to. When you can offer, this is the key, when I can just come up and be having fun, whether she likes me or not, I can be having fun in my own nervousness and my own fear. Like I could be nervous. Oh my God, does she like me? Does she not? But I kind of think it's cool at the same time that I'm nervous because she makes me nervous and I don't need her to validate me. And I just offer, hey, come join me in this fun. I'm having a good time. Come join me in this fun. She's going to really enjoy that. But if I need her to tell me I'm good enough, she's going to want to get away from me. It's that simple. It doesn't matter if you have the perfect line, the perfect routine, the perfect stance, the fat wallet full of money. It doesn't matter. She's still going to want to get away from me.
Yeah, true.
So, is there anything you want to add to that?
No.
So I love how she is like, yeah, that's how we work. If you don't have to have us, if you don't need us, then we want you more. And you chuckled when she said that. So how does that come across? That hit you as true as well?
Yeah, and I think what he also modeled is that incredible presence where, you know, you don't need someone to fill your bucket. You don't need them to say the thing that's going to make you feel better in that moment. Like, oh, please, like respond to me so I don't feel anxiety. And you're moving towards someone with you still have your sense of passion, energy, desire. One of the most heart-wrenching things for me, you know, going through periods of time of dating gentlemen was feeling where they had kind of shut off their internal drive, passion, fire, because they had received feedback maybe that it was wrong or too much or wasn't received. Or maybe they even felt like they were, you know, being protecting me if they were like very shut off. And it was really difficult because I couldn't, they were incredible people, and yet I couldn't feel any desire in return for them because they were so disconnected from themselves. So.
Yeah, that makes a lot of sense. There's a gentleman that I just finished doing a coaching 4 months with. We just finished actually yesterday. And they went from a lot of anger, him kind of fighting as a little boy, no intimacy happening, to now there's really no arguments happening. They're dancing, they're spooning in bed, there's deep hugs, there's some light kisses, right? They have 2 almost grown boys. The boys are 19 and 17 at this point, as far as, you know, get an idea of their age. And this man, he was saying, you know, maybe I should take sex completely off the menu and just wait for her to bring up sex at some point again in the future. And I said, really, there's two trains of thought on this. One is just that, where maybe you don't try to go to step 10 like ever at this point until she gives you signals. Maybe you just go to step 8. where you're kissing and hugging and other things, whatever step 8, whatever step 8 is for you, or whatever step 6 is for you, right? And to basically wait for her lead as far as sex, that's one train of thought. Another is to do those things until you heal the relationship to a certain point where you can have sexual discussions outside of the bedroom at different times when both of you feel safe, and ask about sex. Like, tell me about how you feel in the bedroom at this point. Tell me, I'd love to do this vision with you. I'd love to take your clothes off and play in a fun way. I'd love to get in the shower with you. And to talk about it outside of the bedroom instead of just guessing when it's appropriate, or passively waiting for her to take the lead in sex. And what I said is, it would make me sad to strike it off the menu completely, to print out new menus, so to speak, and not have it on the menu. I'd rather you put a sticker over it that says out of season so that you or she can pull that sticker off in the future, but it's still on the menu. It's not that you're expecting to never have it again. So talk with me about those scenarios where he's moving forward in the world, in his relationship, I should say. Things are, dramatically better than they were 4 months ago. Sex isn't on the menu right now, right? But he's still dancing up the stairs of intimacy. And he sort of has the choice of, wait for her to bring it up, or heal the relationship and then he bring it up verbally outside the bedroom in the future, or another option if you thought. But what do you feel in that scenario as a woman?
Well, I can feel what the woman wants in that moment. And then I can feel what actually is healing and beneficial to the relationship. And I can absolutely feel the part of me, the feminine part of me, that when, she's been unhappy about something, or something's hurt, or she's angry, or she feels like disregarded, or all those things. And I'm, gonna kind of hole up, and I don't want to be in a vulnerable place with this man. And I'm fine. And I'm going to handle life my own way. I'm going to be in this lane, and, intimacy and sex in this moment feels like an invasion of space, and I'm safe just doing things my way, and that's fine. We can be in a relationship, but this is like my frame, and that makes me feel safe to have my own frame. And that path, that frame, never gets to expand or shift like water yourself as a woman if you're not inviting in other energy to learn from and shift from. And that's what you have gifted me as well, is even in the moments of like that frame, that pathway that I'm really familiar with, inviting conversation, even when in that moment I'm too stuck. Even if you're inviting conversation about sex with your partner and it's like a angry thing, she comes up angry about it, or she doesn't want to talk about it, inviting that different energy out, inviting communication outside of the bedroom is adding warm water to the flow of the relationship between you. And that's, to me, what she actually needs versus what she might be wanting.
So you're in favor of him not just passively waiting, because there won't be other energies necessarily adding warm water into the relationship, the bath of the relationship, unless somehow she spontaneously holds vision, or because that's my curiosity to share is, well, why not allow her to lead? Why not allow her to tell me when she's, say, ready? And, maybe I'm a little afraid to bring it up otherwise, and that's my own stuff. Then I need to take it to the men and learn from, and either read a book or, talk to Jeff and Cynthia, right? Or bring it up on the forum. So why not sort of wait for her to bring vision as far as next steps in the relationship?
Well, I think you can, if she feels pressured every time it's brought up, you can create the frame of you know, I want to talk about this in a way that feels comfortable for you. So how would this feel comfortable for you? If she is going to be in that leadership role, it's never going to be in that like wonderful polarity place. And it's very hard if a woman's like, she's going to be controlling everything to then receive your energy and allow that kind of connection and healing in. So I don't feel like there's always like the perfect black and white answer.
Wait, there's not like not a perfect answer?
But, and I've actually experienced working with a gentleman where, you know, the woman really does want to have sex with him. And there are times when he's like set a time of like, we're going to go out to dinner and we're going to dress up real nice. And it's going to be a romantic evening, those first few stares of intimacy. And she decides that in that moment, she thinks she wants to have sex instead, which is fine. But then she's taken the leadership role in that. And then something about that really shuts her down, where next time she's like, oh, I'm not interested. And I feel like that happens when she's kind of like trying to take the ropes because something causes her anxiety. And then she's like, oh, this doesn't feel good.
So in that instance, it's easier for her to go to sex. She feels somehow safer or within control to shift the agenda to sex. But then afterwards, her femininity shuts down because she was able to grab the reins. Is that what you're saying?
Yeah. And it's kind of like this doesn't feel good. And now I've got to create my own frame again because I can't rely on this gentleman in my life to hold that well.
Interesting. Yeah. So the topic for another time is there's some advanced, if I was coaching that man, I would talk with him about how he can set up situations where it's an option for, if she gives that sort of signal or wants, that he then lead, and maybe he then lead immediately after into some,
oh, wow.
Coffee or a glass of wine or tea or going out and seeing the stars, something to lead immediately after the sex, so that it's not, and it breaks the pattern is my point. So it breaks the pattern of she takes the reins and then somehow it's now she's leading, and that continues, the energy continues, and she's not liking that.
Yeah.
For some reason.
Yeah.
Or the back and forth play, right? Definitely. Yeah.
I like that.
Good times, fun. If you please honor our chat, I'd appreciate it. And then we have a couple of minutes. I want to share an excerpt from Brene Brown's Dare to Lead. I pulled out, what are the 4 foundational skills of courage, of having courage within life and within your relationship as a leader, which is exactly what we're talking about. So if you'd honor our chat, please.
Well, yeah, and I just want to honor that we have the big stuff going on in our life, and then there's the big stuff going on in our world. And just Tim, jumped in and said, just the increased COVID anxiety just in this exact moment, and say that they're opening the field hospital in the Austin Convention Center next week. And this is, I appreciate you all being here and working in the presence that you are, because the world needs your groundedness. And I know we're talking about relationship and sex and communication, but every skill that you're practicing here matters for something that's kind of wild and whirly and not perfectly controlled that's going on in our world right now.
That's a great point. Yeah, grounded in the storm, regardless of what that is.
Yeah. And then Jack shared, he said, God, this process seems so slow. How does a man make this mental shift without getting frustrated? I understand mentally, but I lose my plan in the moment.
Yeah. So Jack, I'll add, one of the 3 forms of confidence, right, is emotional confidence of, well, what do I do when I'm not feeling well? I had another gentleman yesterday. He just initiated no contact for the next 2 weeks with his separated spouse. And I don't have time for the whole backstory, but he's saying he feels really impatient. Like he wants shit or get off the pot. That's what he's feeling. Like, let's just get this either over with or move forward or something. Kind of like the opening poster here, the energy of, I want to almost force something because I feel impatient. And the first thing I said to him was that your impatience can be a model for you. Your impatience can be a learning for you, a teaching for you to, as Thich Nhat Hanh said, I said this one other time on the show, to cradle your impatience like a baby, to have compassion for your own self, but to not try to fix the impatience. That is where you are in your process right now. And being okay with that in the moment is how you move through. That is how you move through. So Marcus Aurelius, the impediment to action is, the action is the way. That impediment is the way. And so that impatience is the practice for right now. And that's how we move forward in the faster way. I've absolutely been through every one of these emotions, and it's mentally, it's easy, easy for me to say, yes, that is the way. But the key is, if we hook that current impatience onto some other emotion underneath it, resentment or anger or despair, if we hook the impatience on and we don't process the impatience, that sadness, that despair, that resentment underneath will stay with us, and we bury it down inside of us, which comes out in shitty ways, in little boy ways, and upset or shut down or run away or blaming her or being needy for her. So we need to unhook the impatience from the other emotions we're having and process the impatience first. Discover what's underneath that. Is it a sadness because I'm losing the identity that I thought I would have as a family man and, with this woman, and that story brings me pain? That's okay. Is there resentment there? The resentment here is what I need to process, and I have to get through the impatience first. I have to separate it from the impatience. So that's what I've seen, and that's what I explained to this other client of mine yesterday. And I hope that helps you a little bit. Let me share this excerpt from Brene Brown's Dare to Lead, and then we'll wrap up our show for today. So I'm sharing the cover right here and the quote that I pulled out. She says, "Our research led to a very clear, very hopeful finding. Courage is a collection of 4 skill sets that can be taught, observed, and measured. And here are the foundational skills of courage. Number 1," and she says this is a prerequisite for everything else on this list. You must start with number 1 here, which is being able to rumble with vulnerability. Without this core skill, the others are impossible to put into practice. So rumbling with vulnerability, being open to it, being open to feeling wrong or impatient or sad, and being able to process through that. Number 2, living our values. We have to know what those are. It's part of our show we talk about and part of your work as men, gentlemen. Braving trust, because to trust, we must be vulnerable. And learning to rise into our own power, and to have that positive mindset about ourselves, have that growth mindset about our chapter in life, and learning to rise. She says, "Consider this carefully. Our ability to be daring leaders will never be greater than our capacity for vulnerability." Right? So I love that so much. And that rings true in all the learnings that we have, with all the experts, if you will, that we share clips on the show, with all the authors and doctors and researchers that we share in this show, and our experience, and even on the video that we shared today. We must learn and be okay to be open and vulnerable in our body, in our stomach, in our legs, be grounded to the earth, to be able to have love and deep passion and trust and affection. And that does open us up to feel pain sometimes, or impatience or resentment. That's called being human, guys, right? So to have the range of emotions, to have the possibility of these positive emotions, we have to open ourselves up to practice and move through the shadow parts of us.
Yeah.
So how does that hit you when I say that? To have those range of emotions, we have to be able to move through shadow and vulnerability.
Yeah, I think it's pretty stressful, anxiety producing, exhausting to be always running from the shadow. And I've certainly tried to do that many times. Even in college, I went to a very alternative college where I could create my own classes, and I created one where it was like a life journey class, and I drove up the coast of California, and it was reading books and it was journaling, and I mean, really the purpose in that was I was trying to leave the shadow behind, and that I would come back and magically be like free. And lo and behold, those emotions, those intense emotions were still there on my return. And something I think is a gift of relationship is it's a way for us to practice those intense reactions, crawling into ourselves, uncertainty in the presence of another. And to be able to feel that and then know that you're kind of shifting how you're responding to that, that is, I have never felt anything more empowering, and to give energy and lessen stress. So not saying that that is easy, but it is the path in versus the path around, which is well worn with my sneaker marks. So.
I love that. Fantastic. Thank you so much, Cynthia. Yeah. Let's honor our men, please, Cynthia.
Well, thank you for being here on this Friday and holding the space of the energy of change, of momentum takes some time, but once the ball starts rolling, it does get easier and better and quicker and newer. And I appreciate all the vision that you hold and all that you bring here. Just like Dave was talking about, it is a gift to feel your energy and be the woman on the other side of the phone or the Zoom call. So thank you all for being here very much.
Fantastic. Thank you, Cynthia. This has been the C-Note Show, brought to you by Great Men Move Mountains and greatmenmovemountains.com. If you're not yet a part of our private Facebook group, you need to be invited, just like every man has been thus far. Go to greatmenmovemountains.com/Facebook and punch in your information. Or check out our website, greatmenmovemountains.com, for free stuff. We have a free audio book. There's a free 10-day program of how to move through the #1 cause of divorce. There are videos on there as well. And we have our own one-on-one coaching if you want to move through this as quickly as possible. You can contact us through there as well. Love you guys. We have a special this Sunday. It's going to be promoted by Steve Horseman, Dan Dorr, and Good Guys to Great Men. He sends it out to his, I think, 20,000 or so list. We always have 50, 60, 70 guys on that call. That's this Sunday at 11 a.m. Mountain. We will post that on the private Facebook forum, the link to that. And the goal there is how to have more fun in life, how to transmute, how to transition your anger or that stuck energy so that you can have more sex and affection in your life. We're going to talk about that this Sunday on our special for Good Guys to Great Men. We'd love to see you guys there. Love you guys. Go kick ass in the rest of your Friday. Ciao.
I'ma tell you about a woman who's cold as tundra with some frozen eyes. I can tell by the way she moves that she can't